What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to show you another vacuum that's in my vacuum collection. Yes, it's another Hoover Elite. Many people know already by now, but for those of you who don't, I love Hoover Elites. They're by far my favorite vacuum cleaner on planet Earth. And I always try to film them whenever a good-looking one comes across my path. And today, I found something that's a little rare. That's something you don't normally see too often. Here I present to you a Hoover Elite High Performance, quote unquote. And the reason why I say that is because there was actually another version of this that was actually branded the Hoover Elite 300, which essentially in a nutshell is a Hoover Elite 350 but with no headlight. It actually just has a blank for where a headlight would have gone that's actually colored to match the same as the cleaner. But how I stumbled across this is I found this on eBay, like I do a lot of my vacuums. And this showed up in not as good of condition as you see it right now. It was pretty dirty, so I just stripped everything down, just down to the plastic, threw all the plastic parts in the dishwasher to wash it off, and took a quick look over everything inside the motor, and everything was all good. Reassembled everything, a lot of with other used parts I had lying around, and here's where it sits today. And this was actually a rare version of the Elite. I've never seen one that was actually branded a high performance. I believe these were exclusive to JCPenney's. If anyone knows where this vacuum originated from, please comment down below. But I do know there were other versions of the high performance Hoover cleaners. I know there was a Convertible branded as a high performance. And there was also this one, but it's not as common as the Convertible version. But anyway, let's give a walk through the cleaner. So this is a typical late 80s, early 90s style Hoover cleaner that doesn't even come with onboard attachments. There's not even a tool port on the hood where to mount a hose on board on. This is just as simple of a Hoover Elite cleaner as you can get back then. But anyway, this is one of the lower end of the Hoover Elites, so it does come with a slide top bag. To get access to your bags on these guys, you just gotta unhook it from this top spring right here, and then you could slide it off on whatever side you want. So just slide it off whatever side to change your outer bag. And inside it does house your Hoover Type A bag, which is very large. As you can see, I'm running a HEPA cloth bag for increased filtration, which definitely works pretty good for something of its kind. But I will admit, this slide top bag is not as convenient to change the bag as, say, the side zip bag on higher end models. So anyway, let's see if I can do this all on camera. Just clamp either side and slide the bag top back on. Alright, and now we'll go ahead and put the spring back in, hook it back in, and there you're good to go. As you can see, you have the high performance lettering on the outer bag. One thing I do like about this version compared to the Elite 300 is that the outer bag actually matches the color scheme of the cleaner. Whereas the Elite 300, depending on what colored hood you have, it just comes with a white outer bag, pretty similar to like what they had on the Elite 200s, which those were essentially Elite with no carpet height adjustment. It had a totally different hood design, which, as you can see, this looks very similar to that of the Elite 350. It's just, it has this blue headlight blank on the front. And you see, here's the lettering, Hoover Elite High Performance. The Hoover symbol right there. Right here, you have what Hoover claims to be a 2-level carpet height adjustment, but in actuality, this is actually 3. Because see, you have low, there's one section in the middle, and then there's high, which I leave it in the middle for the pile of this carpet, in between the low and the high setting. You could actually leave that there, and that actually acts as a carpet height adjustment. You see you have edge cleaning on both sides. And let's go ahead and flip it back to show you the underside. Here is the brush roll that's in it. It is a single row brush roll. This, however, is not the original brush roll, I would like to add, when I got it. It was very similar to this brush roll I'm running in it. It's a single row white bristle brush roll with pretty stiff bristles, I would like to add. And don't let the single row fool you. This actually performs very good for having a single row. And you will notice there are obviously some notches right here and the bristles missing, because this brush roll is actually out of my Encore Supreme. And I put a new brush roll into it, and that one went into this. I put this in specifically because this brush roll was in better condition than the one it originally came with. The bristles on this are a little bit longer than this one's original brush roll was. And like I said, don't let the single row of bristles fool you. This actually performs very good. I argue that the performance of the dual bristle brush roll versus the single row are very minimal. You may get a little bit better pickup for the dual row brush roll, but the way I see it, the agitation between the two are exactly the same. This one actually agitates pretty good, but see, you have a blank section right here that I believe acts as a beater bar on the carpet. One thing I also do believe that what adds on to the cleaning performance of these older Elites, as you can see, there's not these center bars on the base plate. There's just this one right down here. And that's where you can see what kind of grinded off the bristles on this particular brush roll, because it was used on that style of sole plate. But now it's put into this. That honestly, I feel like this style base plate makes better carpet lines than the 3-bar base plate. But anyway, let's go ahead and turn this thing on its back to show you the model number. This here is Hoover Cleaner model U4723, 120 volts, 60 hertz. This is a 5-amp motor, which is actually the smallest motor you could get in a Hoover Elite back then. And these were the same motors that were in the Elite 350s as well as the Elite 200s. And here's your belt type and bag type. And to serial date these guys, the first 4 digits decode the month and the year. The first 2 is the month, and then the 3rd and 4th is the year. So 03 of 91. So in other words, this is manufactured in March of 1991 for household use only, made in the USA. Great thing about these cleaners is that they're American made. You don't see anything was cheap like this that's still being made in the USA. Mexico if you're lucky, but usually everything is being moved to China these days. And right here you do have your simple on-off power switch on the side, typical Elite, which this is actually a plastic rod that actually runs down the base of the cleaner that actually actuates a little rocker switch down inside the valley of the motor, which is pretty odd design for a vacuum if you ask me, but that was always the unique thing about these Elites, is that they kept their wiring tucked away inside the motor, and it's actuated by a little slider switch either on the side or higher end models in later years came with it on the top handle. But for now, let's go ahead and release the cord. The cord is a little bit dirty, I will say, but that's not a major deal. The only good thing I could say about the cord is that there seems to be no residual tears, nicks, or frays anywhere in the cord. Not that I can find. So that's something you don't see too often. So let's go ahead and plug this guy in. And now we'll go ahead and turn it on and give it a quick run for you guys. Now, typical Elite fashion, I would like to point out this thing is pretty loud when it's running, so headphone users, I advise turning down your volume for this. So, here we go. As you can see, this cleaner runs very nice and smooth. The only things I will say that would make me love this thing even more is if it had a headlight and a longer cord. But another thing I will mention is, of all the Elites I've collected, these older, more vintage, like pre-1992 of the Hoover Elites that have these lower amperage 5 and 6 amp motors that have a much more lower tone, they're much more quiet than their 7 amp counterparts. And they're much more pleasant to use, in my opinion, because of that reason. But I hope you've enjoyed this review on the Hoover Elite High Performance. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.